Okay, so welcome back, everybody. It's been a time. A week ago I recorded a video that I still haven't had a chance to edit with a better explanation of the cause and the gap up until that point. From that point to this point, the only excuse that I have is that life is nothing like a box of chocolates. Life has been like a game of Jenga, and somebody's rounded off all the pieces, tied them together, and then they lubed them up. And this may not be Jenga. And I should probably wash my hands. Anyway, I'm back now. So, I sometimes feel a need to go ahead and apologize for things that I have no responsibility for whatsoever. Like, I don't know, things other people do. Ooh, whoa, sun. Um, Damn, that's bright. Let me, did that fix it? I don't know, it's reflecting off something. Anyway, oftentimes I feel the need to apologize for things that I am in no way associated with, which is the case with today's video. I have not seen it. I'm actually terrified by the thumbnail, um, and specifically to the people of Britain. I don't know what we're about to see here, but I know that we have a long history of that. Britain will give us something that's very nice and lovely, and we will screw it up. It will screw it up. You give us tea, they're going to throw it in the harbor. Which, believe me, if there were southern states back then, and we heard that up north they were just hucking tea in the harbor, the Civil War would have come a lot sooner. Because we would have been like, excuse me, that is not how you treat tea. If you want to offend British people with tea, let us make it. It's apparently a horror show for y'all. Anyways, even if it's not, it's just fun. But, okay, tea. Y'all gave us these little colonies y'all had. Y'all weren't using them. Y'all said, "Hey, man, would y'all be interested in keeping those?" And we were like, you know what? Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess we could build a country with them. If y'all are willing to give them up. And y'all were like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Pfft, we have no use for them. I realize that this is historically wildly inaccurate. There's no need to correct me on this. I'm not like teaching a class. This is not a TED Talk. Beatles. Y'all gave us the Beatles. And yeah, we really messed that one up. Yeah. So, today we're going to look at one of my favorite things from Britain and what we did to it. It's y'all's television. I mean, every once in a while we get a gem. Like Friends. Friends turned out to be pretty good. The Office turned out to be pretty good. Personally, I'm not so big on The Office. It's just not my thing. I didn't want to go and spend all day at work and then come home and go to work with somebody else. Just with my thing. But entertaining. I saw, I don't know, like one episode of the British version. I love Ricky Gervais. He's adorable. And I kept spotting people in. I remember there was. I can't think of her name, but she was in Shaun of the Dead, and she was the roommate, the actress, and she was in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina as the aunt. I want to say Lucy Day, but that's not. That's the lady with the laugh, I think. Anyway, I've gone way off track. But the thumbnail is terrifying me because it's Red Dwarf, and I didn't know that we tried to do something to Red Dwarf because I don't know if I'm gonna like this video. I got a feeling I'm gonna be like disgusted by it, but we're gonna get into it anyway because I've already rambled and rambled and incredible. And the video is not really short. So, okay, let's just go ahead and get to it. Okay.
For this list, we're looking at all the times the US attempted and failed to replicate the glory of our top shows. While there have been some gems among the poop pile like The Office and Shameless, let this be your firm promise that no one does it quite like the Brits. Number 20, Red Dwarf.
He evolved from cats, sir, just as your distant ancestors once swung from trees.
Ancestors? His grandparents swung from trees.
One of the greatest sci-fi series ever produced, let alone comedy series, Red Dwarf is British TV at its finest.
Yeah.
The story of 4 very different men drifting in space, coming across all sorts of alien threats, combined some unforgettable gags with some genuinely heartfelt moments. The American remakes botched that balance. The only returning cast member was Robert Llewellyn as Crichton.
They made a wrong turn somewhere. You should have made a left at the last intersection, Crichton.
The rest were recast as Americans, the worst of which being Lister, who was just some traditionally handsome Hollywood-type bloke. That's not the bloody point of Lister.
This cat is quite clearly pregnant.
He is? I thought it was all the beer I've been giving her.
Number 19, Ab Fab.
Really?
Honey, it hasn't come yet, and I'm jonesing like crazy for a cigarette.
Eddie, no!
No,
You just had that
it's
laser
got
peel
Kristen
around your lips.
Johnson.
You can always talk me down.
Yes, that is an abbreviation of absolutely fabulous, because apparently the original title just wasn't snappy enough. While the first attempt at this remake starred big names like Carrie Fisher and would have been produced by Roseanne Barr, that ultimately never saw its first day in production. Then there was the second attempt, which we have had the misfortune of actually viewing.
Could you spare $1 for a sandwich?
Ooh, that's not how I roll.
Exactly! Really?
The remake actually had some pretty good actresses too in Kristen Johnston and Katherine Hahn, but they simply didn't have any chemistry whatsoever. Only 3 minutes of this episode have surfaced, and trust us, it's not worth it.
Denying me one harmless little glass of wine after how
Okay, I would have
hard
after
work.
she started talking.
You hardly work at all anymore.
Number 18, Top Gear USA.
Tanner, do you see this?
Okay, I don't really care about shows like this.
My entire head.
Okay, close your eyes.
The-
when we
the
say Top Gear,
Red
what's the
Dwarf and
first
Ab
thing that
Fab
pops
is-
into your head? The trio of Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James
Oh wait, I
May,
know about Jeremy
right?
Clarkson.
Well,
His
don't
contract
expect
was
them
not
here.
renewed. It was the non-renewal. You know what? I know more about Jeremy Clarkson
Somehow,
from
the
Big Fat
show
Quiz
actually
than I
lasted
do
6 whole seasons and
in
was
general.
praised by the...
Punch was evident in the dramatization. A lot of people think he was sacked for it. He wasn't.
Yes.
They just didn't renew his contract.
Yes.
Number 17, Trigger Happy TV.
Okay, I don't know what this one is.
How's this for a kick of nostalgia? Many will remember this short outdoor prank show for Dom Jolly's screaming on a giant Nokia phone. Just hearing that old ringtone will give people flashbacks to this day. But the rest of the show was actually damn good too, with Jolly taking on a variety of roles to prank the public.
Thank you for being quiet. This is the library. It's supposed to be quiet.
Unfortunately, when it hit stateside, Jolly wasn't the only cast member taking to the streets. 3 American comedians performed their skits and just didn't hold the same spirit as Dom's, who even expressed himself that he disliked the series. Number 16, Free Agents.
Ink's not even dry on the divorce papers, and he is back on the horse.
Not the biggest show to come out of the UK, but definitely one that caught some attention. Free Agents was a black comedy that revolved around the mishaps
got,
of a talent agency.
Hank
It was
Azaria
short
and
and sweet,
Catherine
but not
Hahn
quite
again.
as short as its American counterpart. Free Agents USA changed the setting of the original and only had 1 returning
I like
cast
Hank
member.
Azaria.
Chinese chicken salad, is that a salad made with Chinese chicken? Or is that a chicken salad made in the Chinese style?
This was clearly a poor move, as the series only
Okay, that's not
lasted
the
on
line
NBC
you want to follow up with
for
when
4
somebody says that they like
episodes
you.
before being thrown onto the streaming service Hulu, where its last 4 would appear.
Things are a bit rough.
Number 15, Spaced.
you doing in here?
This is one that I actually need to watch. It's where the slice of
If
fried
you hear
gold
the
came
phrase
from.
American version of Spaced, you probably instantly convulse. But no one hated the idea quite as much as the man behind the series himself, Edgar Wright. Wright was apparently opposed to the project the moment it was even suggested, but the production company went through with it without even telling him.
I'm thinking maybe like a unicorn, and a field of poppies and some sparkles.
She's got a lot of opinions.
What's worse, they actually still credited him and Simon Pegg as working on the series. At the end of the day, American characters reenacting scenes from American movies just didn't have the same humour as when down-and-out British characters do it, and the show never survived.
Wow.
Yeah, I never even heard of this one either.
You know what if I take his little friend here and I just do that?
Number 14, Men Behaving Badly.
This one I actually knew.
However, can we in all fairness compare driving a car to making love to a woman?
Because that guy was in...
What kind of car?
While not the worst remake America has
Drop
to offer,
Dead Fred.
it was unfortunately unable to get over with the American audience. The original of this series starred British staples Martin Clunes and Harry Enfield, and was constantly pushing the extent of political incorrectness on television. This was met with adoration from the British public.
I'm trying to
but when
remember,
the
I don't know if
Americans
I
tried
actually
this
knew if
in
that
a
was a
similar
British show or
vein,
not.
audiences were appalled.
I mean, you don't want some
We'll just
strange
go with
guy
the
in your
potential
apartment
that there
poking through
was
your
a
underwear
chance
drawer.
that I'd
The
heard of a British
family-friendly
version of
nature
it.
of more popular shows
Or that
wasn't
it was
present
based off of
here,
a British
and
show.
with Rob Schneider, yep, that Rob Schneider, taking the main role in the height of his fame, not even that could save the series from cancellation. Number 13, Us and Them.
Jeez Louise.
I hadn't heard of this one either.
Cracker. Okay, so you've gotten the idea so far that British comedy just doesn't translate well into the American formats. But what about some Hard Knocks drama? Well,
I don't
that's
like
hardly
drama.
better too, sadly.
I was nothing to
Seven, Peep Show.
Peep Show is one that I want to watch
When you
with
think of cringe-based
David
British comedies,
Mitchell
chances are your
in
mind
it.
immediately jumps to David Mitchell and Robert Webb's classic series, Peep Show. But sadly, when Americans got their hands on it, it became an entirely different kind of cringe.
Is that one of the
bad
Myers?
kind.
Oh, that
this
is.
pilot episode, which was produced by 20th Century Fox, is downright painful to watch, and proves that whoever wrote it never truly grasped the concept of what Peep Show was all about. Thank God Superhands got out unscathed. Number 10,
Was
Life
that
on
Johnny
Mars.
Galecki? I've heard I've heard those three words together.
Initially, Life on Mars looked to be making a name for itself on American shores.
I
It
could not
was
have
a
told you that it
respectable
was a
nod
show,
to
though.
the BBC classic, remade, and then that ending happened. Seriously, what on Mars was that about? Whereas the original had the amazing and bittersweet ending of
That
Sam
was,
killing himself to return
The
to
Master.
1973, this one featured Sam and the group as
Ham?
astronauts on the first manned
No,
mission to Mars. And the 1973 scenes were just a simulation. It was absolutely insulting and tarnished the name of the fantastic original.
St. Christopher medals seem to work, huh?
I guess they did.
Number 9. Oh no, not them.
Didn't hear this one either.
That atrocious title is really all you need to know about this abomination. This series was set to be a remake of The
Love
Young
him.
Ones, a classic 80s sitcom
That was my favorite,
that was
Vivian.
renowned
Oh my God.
for its
I love
subversive
him.
humor. 6 years after its ending, Fox attempted to Americanize it
Why?
with terrible results.
Ow! You mean the one with the enormous tits?
Nigel Planner, one of the original actors, was set to star in the remake, but he had an awful time in America and didn't get along well with his co-stars, which made for a troubling production.
Oh no!
The pilot was apparently awful enough that Fox scrapped the series before it could air, leaving
Thank
the unseen
God.
episode a thing of legend. Number 8,
Because I love
Cold
the young
Feet.
ones.
They make some very underrated
I've got
wines,
it back
the
there on
Bulgarians.
VHS.
No, this isn't one of them.
A comedy
no idea
drama
what this is.
detailing the ebbs and flows of Number 7, Viva Laughlin.
Oh, party.
You can't make it.
Yes, I can.
Viva Laughlin was an ambitious but
Haven't
ultimately
heard of this
failed
one either.
remake of Blackpool, the popular musical comedy drama
Gunnar David
mashup
Tennant.
about a murder in
That
an
was the
arcade.
governor.
With a strong foundational story and behind-the-scenes players like the original's creator, Peter Bowker, and executive producer Hugh Jackman, Viva Laughlin should have been decent, but it wasn't even good enough to be bad. Number 6, Pain.
All right, look, I need you to run upstairs.
Faulty Towers.
Rule 1 of adapting British shows. Do not, and we mean do not, touch Faulty Towers. Unfortunately, no one was there to enforce this rule in 1999, so CBS went and touched Faulty Towers inappropriately and made it into Pain. While it had the same basic premise as the John Cleese classic, it made 2 notable changes. Those being a shift in location from Devon to California and a notable absence of jokes. While it was endorsed by Cleese himself, he was in the minority, which meant the show was canned after 8 episodes, leading one filmed episode to remain untransmitted.
Get over it.
I like John Larroquette, but
Number
I don't.
5, Doctor Who.
No. There is no way we tried
Before
to do
the
Doctor Who.
2005 revival that brought Doctor Who back to the public's consciousness and hearts, there was this made-for-TV movie, which was supposed to be hugely successful and launch an American version of the show. It wasn't, and it didn't. Broadcast on Fox, this movie served as a continuation of the story, with the 7th Doctor, Sylvester McCoy, passing the baton to Paul McGann. Although it was well received in the UK, it was a ratings disappointment in America, and the hopes of a new American version of Doctor Who were quickly squashed.
I have wasted all my lives because of you, Doctor. And I will be rid of you.
Number 4, Coupling.
I'll be about to leave. I'll be thinking, I'm finally out. She'll lean over, look me in the eye and say,
Hey.
I'm not wearing panties.
Coming from eventual Doctor Who and Sherlock showrunner Stephen Moffat, the UK version of Coupling was a brilliant comedy that centered around a group of mates and was respectably compared to both Seinfeld and Friends. Meant to serve as the replacement for the latter, NBC commissioned 13 episodes of an American remake, but some awful acting and constant network interference caused this version to be embarrassingly inferior to the original, and it was instantly labelled a massive creative failure. It was quickly cancelled after 4 episodes went out, and the rest have been presumably taken out back and muffled with a pillow.
When I invited you to dinner, I meant dinner. Just dinner.
Well, I wasn't expecting an elaborate spread.
Number 3, the IT crowd.
We go in there, I make up a load of crap
Okay,
about
I'm very
computers,
disappointed
see
in
if
this.
she picks up on it.
First off,
Go
because
on.
there's Richard
Similar to the
Ayoade
Big Bang Theory,
and
only
Joel
arguably
McHale.
actually funny, the IT crowd is a shining beacon in nerd culture and follows a pair of nerds in a fictional company's IT department.
I don't
Due to its success in the
want
UK,
to see it different.
NBC ordered an American remake, but like most of their remake attempts, it was a spectacular failure.
The only
a
thing in
pilot
that
was
that would be
filmed
any good
and
would be
numerous scripts
Richard
were
Ayoade.
written, with Richard Ayoade returning as Moss and Joel McHale portraying Roy. However, even NBC knew that they had a dud on their hands after watching the pilots and promptly ordered the series cancelled before it even began.
I mean, they have no respect for us up there. No respect whatsoever.
Number 2, The Inbetweeners. The
I don't
Inbetweeners
know
was
if
an
I-
Insta classic that perfectly captured the feelings of adolescence, with
This one I
eerily
want to
realistic
watch.
dialogue. Skins.
Now, Stanley.
This is another one I haven't heard of. Okay, yeah, so to save a lot on time, I'm going to cut out a lot of those that I didn't know, hadn't seen, hadn't heard of. I'm disgusted. The fact that they actually got Richard Ayoade to do an American version of the IT crowd, I mean, I'm kind of disappointed in him. But he's Richard Ayoade, so I mean, you can't be disappointed in him. He's precious. He should be wrapped up in bubble wrap, protected, because he's precious. Says Mel Gedroych. Wrap them both in bubble wrap and protect them. But like, oh wow, like the, the, some things you just don't do. You don't try and remake the young ones. You don't try and remake Doctor Who. You don't try and do Red Dwarf. I mean, that's just it's wrong. You know, I mean, because first off, could you imagine what the American version of the Rumor song would be like? It would not be good at all. I mean, if they actually made it to that point, because you know they'd be ripping it off. They'd probably rip it off in the first season, knowing us. Because, you know, that's how we roll. I there's I'm so disappointed in, like, the people who are in charge of, like, coming up with TV shows. That's the best you can do is, like, try to rip off good stuff, you know? But I'm going to wrap this up because if I wrap this up, then I can go and use the potty because my leg is just shaking so bad fighting it. That's probably more than you needed to know. I could have just ended it and not had to talk about my overconsumption of tea, speaking of which. Because that doesn't help the situation. I hope y'all have a good day. I hope all your Jenga pieces are square and dry and loose. Yeah, okay, so hopefully I'll see you next time. If you liked it, you know, thumbs up it. If not, it's okay. You don't have to click anything. Y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all later. Bye.